Hello everyone, good morning. Today we're learning Bobekama Daf Lamedalet. A bit of a difficult daf, but we'll have it done nice and easy. Tonu Rabbono. The Rabbonon learned, the rabbis, Shor Shovim Osayim, an ox worth 200. Shenogach Shor Shovim Osayim, that gold or cow, an ox that's worth 200. V'chova boy 50 zuz, and it caused him damage of 50 zuz. So went down to 150. Now v'shibech, and now the cow that was nizak, the ox that was nizak, went up in price. V'omad ala barmo zuz, and it's worth 400 zuz. So now the mazik Reuven, who was mazik Shimon, tells Shimon, I'm not going to pay you anything. Why? Because look, your cow's worth 200, now it's worth 400. It even went up in value. Why should I pay you anything for the damage I caused? So the Gemara says, no, he has to pay. Because the other guy is going to say, the Nizak is going to say, Shil mole zikoi, if not, you'd be mazik needs a 50 zuz, or yoimed al shmanamo zuz. It would go up in value because it didn't have damage to 800 zuz. So I lost from the 50 zuz you damaged me, and therefore, noisin kishas hanezek, you have to pay the 50 zuz. Kichesh kishas amodo bedin. What happens if Reuven ox gold Shimon's ox, and now Shimon's ox went down in value from when the damage happens till the court case? So you have to pay the damage, a bigger damage, as if like Abod Bedin, like the court case where it went down in price. Okay, Shvach Mazik, if the cow of the Mazik of Reuven went up in value, so do we say we had the machloikis, does the person become a shutuf? Does the Nizak Shimon become a shutuf in this cow or not? If Rabbi Kiva becomes a shutuf in the cow, and if Rabbi Shmuel he only has to pay money connected the cow. So Shvach Mazik, he went up in price, so Noisin Loi Kishas Nezek. You don't say that the Nizak gains from the Mazik's cow going up in price. He caused damage of 50, he pays 25, and you don't say he gets a shutfus in the cow and the price going up. That's the fear of Shmuel. What happens if kichesh, if it went down in value, the Mavik's cow, and now it's worth more. So again, let's say the cow that caused the damage was worth 200, and the hezek that he has to pay is, let's say, 100. So the Nizak becomes a shutaf in 50% of the cow. He becomes a shutaf in 100. And now Kichesh went down from 200 to 100, the Mavik's cow. He just gives him half the cow, that's 50, doesn't get the full 100 anymore. The Nizak loses from the value going down. That goes at Rabbi Akiva, who holds that he becomes shutfim. The Gemara is going to straight away ask, Omar Mari learned Shvach Mazik, if the Mazik's cow went up in value, noitin kishas hanezek. The Mazik gains the up value in the cow, not the Nizak, and he doesn't become a shutuf in it. Money, who is this? Rabbi Shmuel. It's Rabbi Shmuel, Doma Bal Choivu, that it's like a loan. The Zuzio de Masikle, he doesn't become a partner, he owes him money. How much? The value of the cow, but he doesn't become a shutuf in the cow. Hey, Maseifa, let's look in the last case of this price. Kichesh, if it went down in value, Kishas Amod Bedin, he loses, and Nizak loses because the cow of the Mazik went down in price because he's a shutuf. Ason le Rabbi Akiva, Doma Shitfuninu. That goes if you're Rabbi Akiva who holds a shutuf, and that's why the Nizak loses from the cow going down in value. Frek the Gemara, ask the Gemara question, Reisha Rabbi Shmuel, V'Sefer Rabbi Akiva, does this make sense? That the same brisa, one part is Rabbi Shmuel, the other part is Rabbi Akiva, and it doesn't tell you anything about it? So the Gemara, look, no, Kula Rabbi Akiva he. The whole brisa is Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva holds that you become a shutuf, the Nizak becomes a shutuf in the Mazik's cow. So the Chura, in the case it went down in value, you understand why the Nizak loses, but why doesn't he gain when the cow went up in value of the Mazik? So the Gemara of Achu b'Mayaskina and Beshepitmoy. The reason why the mazik's cow went up in value is because he fed him really a lot of good food. He stuffed him. So the mazik invested in this cow, that's why it went up in value. And that's why the nizak doesn't gain from it, because it's the mazik's investment. Frag the Gemara, ask the Gemara a question, if this whole brayta is talking about when the price went up, is because he stuffed the cow. Let's look at the beginning of the brayta. If the cow of the mazik, of the nizak, went up to 400 zuz after it got damaged 50, how much does he pay? He still has to pay the 50 that he caused damage. Again, Reuven's cow caused damage of 50 in a cow of 200. It was worth 200, now it's worth 150. And it went up to 400. And now we're saying, if it's talking about that Shimon stuffed this cow up and that's why it's worth now 400, do we need to tell you that the din is that Reuven has to pay the 50? Obviously he has to pay the 50 or half of 50, 25 if he's a tam. For sure he has to pay that. That went up in value. How could you ever think that he could say, oh, I don't want to pay because it went up in value, because he didn't lose anything? The reason why it went up in value is because the Nizak invested and he was mefatim it. So the Gemara, Amar Papa, Reisha, Mashkachas Law, the Reisha is talking about when the Reishas were the Nizak, Shimon's cow that got damaged, went up in value and down in value, or we're talking about the up in value. Mashkachas Law, Bein de Pitmo Petumi, it doesn't matter if Shimon stuffed it and made it go up in value, Bein de Shvachim Imele, or it doesn't matter if the value, just if cows went up in the market, or went up, or this cow suddenly became strong without no investment. And the Chiddush is only in the case, the Eichel, the Shvachim Imela, that in the case where it went up in value by itself, and he can't say, oh, you didn't lose anything, your cow went up in value, it was worth 200, now it's worth 400, I'm not paying the 50. No, you need to pay the 50. Seifa, but the Seifa where the Mavik's cow went up in value, it's not talking about it's somehow where the mazik made it go up in value by investing into it. So okay, very good. So now we can understand the price as a steer between the two cases in the price. So when it goes down in value, the nizak's a shutuf. When it goes up in value, the nizak's not shutuf because it's somehow where he invested money into it. Now the Gemara asks a different question. Kichesh, it says when the cow of the mazik went down in price. When the nizak, when Shimon's cow got gold, went down in price, we look at the value, how much it's worth now. So if Reuven's cow gold Shimon's cow, and it was worth 200 at the beginning, and it went down to 150, and then when it comes to court case, it's worth only 100, he has to pay as if he caused the damage of 100. How did it become weak, this cow, from when it got gold until we came to Bezdin, to court? That Shimon, the Nizak, overworked this cow and that's why it went down in value. Reuven, the Mazik, should tell him, At Makchash, you made it weak, you overworked it, now I need to pay you extra, it's your fault that you made it weak. Omar Vashi, it's talking about the Kichesh Machmas Marko. It went down in value because of the hit, it got hit, worth from 200 to 150. And now it's worth 150, but this wound became worse. And it went down more in value to 100. So because of the hit, because of the goring, it went down in value. The Omalei, the Nizak Shimon, tells Reuven, Karen, the Turach Gvirbe, the horn of your ox is buried in my ox, and that's why it's going down more in value, and that's why you have to pay me more. Like when we go to court, even though that at the time of the damage it only went less in value, but now went more less in value, so therefore you have to pay the bigger loss. Says the Mishnah, an ox worth 200, the gold, the ox that's worth 200. And the dead one, Shimon's ox that died, that got damaged, and it's a corpse now, is not worth anything. Says Rameh, this is a classic case where the Torah spoke about. It says in the Pasuk, they'll sell the live ox that's worth 200. V'chotu es kaspo, and they'll split the selling a bit, so they sell it for 200. Reuven, the mazik, keeps 100, and Shimon the Nizak gets 100, and it's half of the damage that was caused to him. Amali Rav Yehuda says to him, Rav Yehuda, v'chein alocha. You're right, I don't argue with you about the din in such a case. For sure, in a case where ox worth 200, caught the ox worth 200 and killed him and is worth nothing, you sell, it's 50-50 on the live one. But, so, chen alocha, I agree with you. But, kiamt, you mekayim in the pasuk where it says, umochrus asher achai, v'chotu es kasper, that they'll sell the live ox and split the money. V'loi kiamt, but he didn't be mekayim the second part of the pasuk that says, v'gam es hameis yechetzum, it says also the dead ox, you'll split, and in this case where the dead ox is not worth nothing, there's nothing to split over there. If it doesn't, that's not the classical case of the Torah, when the Torah spoke. So, ve'ezeh, what's the case that the Torah spoke about? It's the shor shovim osayim, an ox worth 200. Shenoga shor shovim osayim, the gold, the cow, an ox worth 200. Vanevela, and the corpse is yofe chamishim zuz, is worth, the dead nevela is worth 50 zuz. So how much damage was there? 150. So really, the damage 150. Half of 150 of time is how much? 75. Says Rabbi Yehuda, the way he split it is as following. Shezen noitel chetzi achai, v'chetzi ameis. Reuven the mazik takes half the chai, that his chai is the live one's worth 200, so he takes half of 200, 100. The chetzi ameis, and half of the 50 that's left from the nevela, that's 25, so he keeps 125. V'zen noitel chetzi achai, v'chetzi ameis, and the nizak, Shimon, also takes half the live, that's 100, that he keeps, and half the maize, that's 50, he keeps 25, 125 in total. So, right, he damaged, the cow that was damaged was worth 200, now it's worth 50. So he was meant to get 75 and 50 of his nevela is 125. So instead of doing it that way, that he keeps the nevela and you add another 75, no, you split both. That's the case of the Torah, they split both. He split the dead one and it's 25 each, and then he split the live one, it's 100 each. So each one walks away with 125. Said the Gemara, Tonu Rabbanon. The Rabbanon learned, Shor Shovim Osayim, ox worth 200, Shenogach Shor Shovim Osayim, the gold, the cow worth 200, ox, Vanevela, and the dead animal is worth Yofe Chamishim Zuz. That's the case of Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah. Then noitel chetzi achai v'chetzi ameis. Then noitel chetzi achai v'chetzi ameis. Each one takes half of the live one and half of the dead one, and each one gets 125. V'zo shor ha'omu b'Torah, and that's the case where the Torah said they split also the live one and also the dead one. Divrei Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda argues. He says, "Ein the shor ha'omu b'Torah." That's not the ox the Torah is talking about. Elo shor. Where what the Torah talking about? The ox shovim osayim worth 200. Shenogach l'shor shovim osayim. That gold, the cow, like ox worth 200. Ve'ena nevela, and the dead body is no worth yofe klum. So he calls damage of 200. Al then eman, this is what we say in the pasuk. Umochros asher achai, he'll sell the live one that's worth 200. V'chotzas kaspa, and they'll split the money. Each one will get 100, and he gets half his damage. Continues Rameya Elamani Mikaim. But I know the pasuk, and the pasuk says something else. How do I explain that part of the pasuk? Mani Mikaim, how do I explain the pasuk V'games hameis yechtzun, that the dead one you split as well? We saying the dead one's not worth anything in the case that we are talking about. So Rameya says this is coming to tell you, not literally they split the mace into half. It's coming to tell you when it says in the Torah, it's coming to tell you in something else. It's coming to tell you, how do you value the nezek? How do you value the damage? Is you look how much it was worth before and how much it's worth now. That means how much went down in value. In our case, it went down, it was worth 200, now it's worth 0. So that value went down in 200. So that you split in the live one, that he gets paid 100. I mean, that's telling you how you split it. Said the Gemara, Mechti, let's see. Bein Rameh, Bein Rabbi Yehuda. In this case, where Rabbi Yehuda was talking about, where the cow was worth 200. That gold, the cow worth 200 and now it's worth only 50. So Rabbi Yehuda said, you get half of the live and half of the dead, that's 125 at the end. And Rameh also says, he keeps the dead one, 50, and he pays half the damage of 150, 75. So he also walks around out with 25. 125. So says the Gemara, Bein Rameh, Bein Rabbi Yehuda, Hai mea v'esrun v'chamisha shokil, v'hai mea v'esrun v'chamisha shokil. They both walk out of 125. So, might be now, what's the difference? What's the machloikis in between them? There's no difference. Omarova pchas nevela ike benai. The difference is, if the nevela that's worth 50 went down in value, and now it's worth only 25. Went down in value. So Rab Meir Sova Pchas Nevela the Nizak. The Nizak keeps the Nevela, so now they went down in 25, it's his loss, and the Mazik only has to pay 75. So the Mazik pays 75, his Nevela went down to 25, he only gets 100, and the Mazik has 125. Rabbi Yehuda Sova Pchas Nevela the Mazik have a Palga. Rabbi Yehuda holds that the Pchas Nevela, when the nevela went down in value after let's say it happened on Sunday, he gored his ox, gored Shimon's ox, and now the nevela is worth 50, and now on Wednesday it's worth only 25. So Rabbi Yehuda says a chiddush, because it says in the pasuk Games Hameis Yechtzun, meaning the mazik by Tam, he's a partner in the nevela, and therefore if the nevela went down in value, so they split the live one, each one gets 100. And they split the dead one. The dead one's worth 25 now. Each one gets 12 and a half. So each one walks away with 112 and a half. If you're a May, one walks away with 125 in this case, and the other one with 100. And if you're a Yehuda, each one walks away with 112 and a half. So that's the machloikis between Rameh and Rabbi Yehuda. Does the Pchas Nevela, or the Shutfim on the Pchas Nevela, or no? Or the Nevela only that goes down in value, only the Nizak loses if you're a Rameh. Says the Gemara, Omale Abaye, Im Kain, if so, if this is the machlokes to Rameh and Rabbi Yehuda, Motzinu Rabbi Yehuda, he comes out, Vein Shutas Rabbi Yehuda, Tam Chomamu Muod. The Tam's worse off than a Muod. Why? We learned very clearly in the first Perek in Baba Kama that we have a drasha to tell you about Muod, that a Muod that pays Nezek Sholem, he pays a full damage. Let's say a Muod that damaged the cow, Reuven's cow worth 200, or we don't really care how much his cow's worth. Gold the cow worth 200, and it went down to 150, and the nevela's worth 50, and now the nevela goes down in price. It's not Reuven's business, the mazik, that the nevela went down in price. It's Shimon, the nizak, he has to take care of the nevela, and if it goes down in price, it's his loss. So he comes out with Rabbi Yehuda, the buying Muad, when normally it should be more chama, this cow goes many times, he pays the going down in value of the nevela, the nizak loses it. And by Tam, where he's an innocent cow, an innocent ox, the mazik who caused the damage loses more, because going down the value of the nevela, he has to be part of that. That doesn't make sense. The chitim, and if you're going to tell me ochinami, you're going to tell me, I'll bring you even a raya, that Rabbi Yehuda holds that sometimes a tam is more chomov than a muad, kedetnan, like we say in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda oima, tam chayev muad potter. Rabbi Mishnah says, Rabbi Yehuda said, it's talking about someone who was keeping after a cow, and we say over there that Rabbi Yehuda holds that to the protection over a tam cow or tam ox, you need to protect him stronger. You need to put a stronger fence than if you're protecting a muad, like a cow. So we could see that tam is more chomam than muad, because if you did the low protection that's good enough for a muad, if you did that for a tam and he went to his mazik, you'll be chayev. And if the muad was mazik, you'll be potter. So we could see that tam is more chomam than a muad. Like we saw Rabbi Yehuda oima, tam chayev muad potter, so we can see that tam is more chomodik. So the Gemara, no. When did we see that Rabbi Yehuda said this? That you could say that tam is more you need to protect them more. L'inyan shmira, that's for protection. What type of fence you need to put up? The chsivi kroy, because we learn it from the psukim, like we're going to see later on when we get over there. But l'inyan tashlumim, about payments, mishomaslei, did Rav Yehuda ever say that a tam has to pay more than a mud? That makes no sense. V'atanya, and I'll also bring you a raya that Rav Yehuda himself doesn't say that by payments tam is more chomer than mud, and always a mud is more chomer than tam when it comes to paying. That we learned, v'atanya, Rav Yehuda says, yochol shor shove money. Maybe an ox worth shove money. Money is 100 zuz. Shenogach shor shove chomes loim. Now each seller is 4 zuz. So he gored a cow worth 5 sloim. So 5 times 4 is 20. So 100, ox worth 100. Gored the ox worth 20. Vanevela yofa seller. And the nevela's worth only a seller. That's 4 zuz. So it went down in value from 20 to 4. How much of that? That's went down in value in 16. So you're going to say, we said what happened, he split half the live one and half the dead one. So each one should take chetzi achai, the chai is worth 100, so each one will take 50. The chetzi mace and the mace is worth half the mace, so each one should get 52. But then the chetzi achai, the chetzi mace, and he also takes 52. And it comes out that the damage was 16 because it was worth 20 and now it's worth 4, but the nizak walks away with 52. He started with 20 and he's now in profit of 32, and the mazik paid much more than Nezek Sholem. So Rav Yehuda says, Lefi what I'm saying, how I hold they split both animals, it comes out that the mazik pays more than Nezek Sholem, more than Muad. On that Rav Yehuda says, no, you can't say that. Omar is, you can't. Why does the muad have special dinim different to tam? Why do they go out? To make it more strict to pay nezek sholem min aliyah. So why is muad? What's different from muad from tam? Is it coming to be worse, harder payments or less payments? For sure. To make it more higher payments. That means that you pay Nezek Sholem, the full damage, and you pay also if the cow's not worth anything, Me'aliyah. So, if already a muad never pays more than what he calls damage, tam that's less choma than muad, like kol shekain, doesn't make sense that he'll pay more than he was mazik in the case that we said. So, we have a clear raya. The Rav Yehuda says that it can't be that the tam will pay more than a muad pays. So this is a kasha on Rava said the teretz that the difference between Rameh and Rav Yehuda, he explained, is if the value goes down of the cow, and if Rav Yehuda that the mazik loses if the value goes down, it comes out that tam is more chomer than muad. So it doesn't make sense. So we want to understand what's the machloikis between Rav Yehuda and Rameh. It must be a different machloikis. Said the Gemara. Elo Amar Rabbi Yochanan, a new pshat in the machloikis in the argument between Rabbi Yehuda and Rameh, shvach nevela ike b'nayu. The difference is when the nevela, the dead animal went up in value, not went down in value. The Marsova, the Nizakave, Rameh holds that the nevela always goes to Shimon, to the Nizak, and it's nothing of Reuben's business, and if it went up in value, he gained from that. Umarsova and Rabbi Yehuda will hold that he split also the live cow and also the dead cow, palga, that the mazik has a shutfus in this nevela, not for going down as we said before, only if it goes up in price, and he also gains from that going up in price. And that what Rabbi Yehuda had the kasha, we're going to see in a second. Rabbi Yehuda asks the question, if the mazik gains, that the nevela goes up in price and he gains that profit. So Rabbi Yehuda had the question, what was the question of Rabbi Yehuda? And it fits in very good. Ashdod or Omris. Now that we said, Chas Rachmon Olavei, that the Torah hadrachmonus, on the mazik, the shokil b'shvocha that he gains in the benefit when the nizak, when Shimon's cow goes up in value, yochol maybe shorisho b'chomes sloim, an ox worth 5 sloim, and now we said that's 20 zuz, because itzela is 4 zuz, so 5 times 4 is 20. Shenogach shorisho b'moneh, that he got a very expensive cow, a Rolls Royce cow, worth 100 zuz. So a cow worth 20, got a cow worth 100. V'anevela yofe 50 zuz. And now the dead Rolls Royce cow is worth 50 zuz. So you're going to tell me, each one will take half the live one and half the dead one, and let's calculate it. So the live one, we said it was worth 20, so each one gets 10. And the mazik gets 10 and the nizak gets 10, and each one gets half of the dead one that's worth 50 now, so each one gets 25. So comes out that the mazik, that his cow that caused damage was worth 20, and it caused damage of 50, walks away now, the mazik, with half the live one, that's 10, plus half the dead one, 25, he walks away with 35. He gained more after his cow caused damage 50. It makes no sense. That's what Avida's saying. Now that we're telling me that we see the mazik could gain in the nevela going up in value, so maybe also in such a case he'll even, when his cow caused damage to a very expensive Rolls Royce cow, he'll gain from that, and that doesn't make sense. Omris on Eichen Motzinu mazik niska shatan niska. On the Arvida said it can't be that the Torah said so much that he gains the nevela going up in value, he'll also gain more when he caused damage and he walks away with money. We never find such a thing that you cause damage and you gain from that. It doesn't make sense, and therefore you wouldn't get that. You wouldn't split it that way. V'oima, and also I bring a pasuk, Shalem Yeshalem, that we learn, it says twice, Shalem Yishalem, and we learn from there, Balim Mishalmim, that the owner, the Mazik, Reuven, pays. They ain't Balim Noitlim, but they don't gain. It makes sense, and it's a pasuk. We learn from Shalem Yishalem extra, tell you that he always pays, he never profit from this goring. Says the Gemara, My V'oima, why do we bring another? We see L'chorah said a very good svara. It can't be that someone who caused damage gains. Why do we need to bring the pasuk, another pasuk, as if it's bringing a raya for something extra? So the Gemara explains v'chitema animili. This is what Rabbi Yehuda means to say. You might have say eicha deika pseida lenizak. In the case where we said the first case where a cow worth 20, go the cow worth 100, and the cow's worth 100 died and worth 50 now. And if we split 50-50 of both animals, that means 10 each of the live one and 25 each of the dead one. It comes out that the Nizak, Shimon, had a cow worth 100. After he got killed, it's worth 50, and now he walks away with 35. So, in such a case, we don't split it that way 50-50. Avol heicha, but in a case, the lekepse de la Nizak, where the Nizak didn't go lose anything from this 50-50, what the case? Kigoin shorsha v'chomes sloim, an ox worth 5 sloim, and we said each sela is 4 zuz, so 5 times 4 is 20, so a shor ox worth 20 zuz. Shenogach shorsha v'chomes sloim, that gold ox worth 5 sloim, that's 20 zuz. So 20 zuz ox, gold ox worth 20 zuz. And now the nevela went up in value after the goring, and it went up to 30 zuz, so it's worth now 10 more than he was alive because the value went up. Shokin lami mazik b'shvocha. So maybe in such a case, so what if we split 50-50 the live and the dead animal? So let's see what's going to happen. The live one's worth still 20, so each one gets 10. And the dead one's worth 30, so each one gets 15. So each one walks away with 25. They both started with 20 and 20, and each one walks away with 25. So everyone's happy. The Nizak doesn't lose anything. It's not like the other case. So maybe in such a case, you will say you split the live one and the dead one. V'oima, that's why we need the pasuk. Shalem yeshalem, bailim yeshalem. The owners pay. Ve'in bailim noitlim. In no circumstances does the bailim who are mazik gain money from this situation of his ox goring another ox. Omar Rav Acha bar Tachlifa l'Rava. Says Rav Acha, the son of Tachlifa, to Rava, Im Kain, if so, that the machloikis of Rav Yehuda and Rameh is about if the corpse of the nevela went up in value. Motzina Rav Yehuda tam mishalem yoyse mechetzi nezek. And if we're saying that Rav Yehuda holds that you split the dead one and the live one, it comes out that tam mishalem yoyse mechetzi nezek. I have a circumstance where the tam was paying more than half the damage. And what's the case? Says Rashi, the case was of an ox worth 50, the gored cow worth 40, and now the dead cow of 40 is worth 20. So it went down in 20. So really, half the damage is 10, right? Because it was worth 40, now it's worth 20. The damage is 20, so half of that is 10. But if we split now the live one that's worth 50 and each one takes 25, and the dead one that's worth 20 now and each one takes 10, that means the nizak walks away with 35. And how much was half the nizak? That means he gets 15 out of 20 that was damaged to him. That means he got the nizak was worth 40 and now it's worth 20, and now he'll get at the end 35. That means he got 15 for the damage. That means it's 5 more than half. So it's more than half the nezek. The Torah Omra, and the Torah said, the Torah said that he split a half, and here he comes that he pays more than half. Very good, we said that when he comes, the mazik never pays more than the whole value, that the nizek never walks away more than a mod. But in a case where it's less than a mod, he doesn't get the full value, but it's still more than half an ezek. How does that make sense? Says the Gemara Teretz, Isel Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda also agrees that the way we calculate the damages, that you have to pay the value going down from when it was alive. That means it was alive was worth 40, and now we went down to 20, and he split that to the 20, you only have to pay 10. That means in such a case, he'll get only 10 from the mazik. Minole, says the Gemara, how does Rabbi Yehuda learn it? Bishleim Rav Meir learns it from the second part of the pasuk. It says because he doesn't learn it that he split the actual mace. It's only coming to tell you this. But Rabbi Yehuda uses that for circumstance, that in certain circumstances, whether the shvach nevela, they split also the dead animal. So said the Gemara, from there you learn it. Said the Gemara, after Rabbi Yehuda learned it already from there. We need it for that to teach you that each one takes half of the live one and half of the dead one. Said the Gemara, in Kain Nichtav Kra, the pasuk should say ve'esa meis. The pasuk should say and the dead one. My vigam. Why is this extra thing vigam? It's coming to tell you, Shema Mino Tarati, it's coming to tell you both dinim. It's coming to tell you that that the mazik and the nizik split the dead one when it goes up in value, and it's also coming to tell you that how do you value the damage? You value the damage from when it was alive till when it's dead, and the half of that you need to pay, and not more than that. Very good. Says the Mishnah, Yesh Chayv and Ma'aser Shorah. There's a case where your ox that causes damage, a certain case, you're chayav for your ox. So potter al ma'aser atzmo, if you did the same case, you'll be potter. And there's cases where potter al ma'aser shora, if your ox did something, he's potter to pay the owner. V'chayav al ma'aser atzmo, but if the owner did the same thing, he's chayav. Ketzad, what's the case? Shora shebiyesh, an ox that caused someone embarrassment, potter, you don't have to pay for the embarrassment. V'hu shebiyesh, a person who caused embarrassment, chayav, you have to pay. Shora shesimis ein avdoi, an ox that took out the eye, he made his slave blind. And normally when a person makes his slave blind or takes away one of his 24 Rosh Eivarim, the slave goes out to free. But if someone's ox did it to his slave, he took out his teeth, potter, you don't have to pay, or he doesn't go free. By him, the master who made his his slave blind, he took out his teeth, he has to let him go. His ox who caused damage to his father and mother, he has to pay, because his mamoinu was mazik his parents, he has to pay. If a person caused damage in his father or mother, potter, you don't have to pay, because for harming physically your father or mother, the halacha is you get killed. The din is misa. And we know there's a din komle midirabimine. That means when there's a more chomadika issa of misa, when someone does the same action, and the same action you get paid, you also need to pay money, and also you get killed for that action. You don't have to pay money, you just get killed. So therefore, if someone caused damage to his parents physically, he needs to get killed, and he doesn't have to pay the damage. So that's the case where he's potter and his ox is chayev. His ox who made a fire on and burnt the haystack on Shabbos chayev, because it's his mom and was mazik. By a human, the master who lit a haystack on Shabbos, potter. Why? Like we said, because he's chayev misa and komle b'm the rabba and he's potter from the mominus. Okay, we're going to leave this sugya for tomorrow. Thank you very much.